It's a weird thing. I don't think what I'm doing is courageous or takes much courage to do. It's more the mental toughness that I have to focus on and make sure that I'm strict on what I'm thinking about and why I'm shooting, and not letting sort of outside thoughts come in. I learnt very early on that I'd shoot really good scores at home or at training, and then I'd go to a tournament and I'd be 20, 25 points off where I was doing every day at home, and it was because I'd put this expectation on myself to shoot that score at a tournament. So if I'd shoot a bad shot, I'm like, I have to shoot this next one really good to make up for that bad one. But then because you're putting a lot of extra effort into that next shot, which you wouldn't normally do, your body tenses up, your muscle tension's different, what you feel is different, and then you shoot another bad shot, and then you just start this snowball effect where you're just trying to make up for the bad shots. But it's because I'd changed my mental approach and I started trying really hard to shoot good shots, whereas if I just sit back and relax, they naturally happen. So it took me a little while in the beginning to work that out, and then when I stopped caring about that one bad shot, the next shot would generally be good. I'm a little bit more confident about going into Paris this time. Like, I had a few issues before going into Tokyo with ended up in hospital once or twice and missing out on a lot of training really close to heading overseas. Shooting's going really well. I've shot some really good scores. Winning a medal at World Champs also helps, but yeah, I've got enough time, almost a year out now, or just under a year now, to put the effort in and ramp it up a little bit, so I'm quite confident going to Paris. I really enjoy being part of NSWIS. Like, it's a big team, everyone works with you and works out ways of trying to get the best out of your performance and what's going to be the most beneficial to getting scores and getting medals and wins. So yeah, everyone like S&Cs, physios, they keep me going. So you use very specific muscles with archery, and the amount you do, it's a very fine movement, so it's pretty easy to sort of get overuse, so like shoulder issues and that sort of thing. And then being in a wheelchair, if you do start having a shoulder or an elbow issue, it doesn't really get a chance to rehab because you're always pushing yourself around. So knowing you've got that support around and you've got pretty much any question you need answered, there's someone here that can answer it for you. It makes it a lot easier just to sort of sit back and shoot and focus on what you need to do. I spoke to a few people when I was in rehab. When they had an injury, they just think life's over. Like, they just think nothing's going to happen anymore and it's going to be a lot harder. But you sit there and dwell on the bad side of it, you're never going to go forward. You're always going to go backwards, and I saw a bit of that in rehab as well. So yeah, I've always had the positive attitude. I've never had been one to be sit down and depressed about what's happened. And I know there's plenty of people that have had much worse conditions than anyone. There's plenty of people in hospital that would do anything to be in my position. So that's just the way I look at certain situations.